I'm Father Clayton Fernandez from Sant Esteve. I was born here in this village. Um, I grew up here. I studied here. In fact, until the 7th standard, I went to St. Teresa's High School. I still consider that my school. Though from the 8th to the 10th, I moved to Montigiri with the Capuchin Fathers. I completed my 10th standard there. I still feel my school is St. Teresa's, not forgetting the contribution of the Capuchin Fathers. My origin, my roots are here in this village. I've been away from this village for a long time. I left this village when I was 13 because I went to the boarding school. After that, after my 10th standard, I joined the seminary in Naveli. 3 years I went to Naveli. I was the first batch of Rosary Higher Secondary back in those years. And then for my formation, priestly formation, I went 2 years in Bangalore, 3 years in Bangalore for my philosophy. 1 year I was sent for community experience here to Giri again, and then 4 years of theology I completed in Mysore. I came back in the year 2000 and I did my diaconate 6 months in Maina Kurturi in Salset, and then I was ordained in 2000 on May 12th. But the story of my vocation all started here in this village, in this parish. It was when our late Father Almir de Souza, he became the parish priest. He kind of channelized our vocations. As a young boy, I used to say, look at priests and say, oh, one day I want to become a priest. But it was he, through the organizing of the altar boys and the various activities he had, that he kind of, encouraged us. And along with him, I also remember the assistant parish priests like Father Arlene, Father Dennis. These were all his assistants. Now they are in big positions, but they were his assistants. They served as assistants here. It was through their encouragement. Besides, when I went to Montigiri, it was not the Capuchin Fathers who spoke to me about St. Francis. There were sisters there who were teaching Hindi. And on one occasion, they gave us comic books, Life of St. Francis of Assisi. And since I liked reading comics, and everybody as that age, 13, 14, used to read comics, I was impressed by this life. And I said, probably, no, I don't want to be a diocesan priest like Father Almir. I'll become a Franciscan, a Capuchin. So after I finished my 10th standard, I joined the Capuchins in Naveli. And there's a funny story. To join the seminary, we needed the parish priest letter. And Father Almir would not give me the letter saying, you go to Saligaon Seminary, don't go to the Capuchins. So when I went and told this to the Capuchin superior, he said, don't worry, we know you, you were with us. Father Almir can keep the letter, but you come to us. So that was it. But it was, both wished me well. They wanted me one side, Father Almir wanted me on his side. But here I am now. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience as a priest. Immediately after my ordination, I was posted in Naveli in our Padre Pio Friary, where today there is a big devotion to Padre Pio. That was then a seminary, minor seminary for the Capuchins. And we would go from there to schools, to families, visit families, promoting vocations. And that is how we have today, among the Capuchins at least, many students, many fathers who are from Salset area. We went around contacting, families, students in schools. After my 12th standard in Naveli, I went to Mangalore. I was the only Goan among the other brothers from Karnataka, and there were 3 from Maharashtra. So, but then all through, I was the only Goan. So much so, after 10 years when I came back to Goa, my Konkani had become Mangalorean Konkani, because most of them would speak Mangalore. But it was a nice blend of different cultures. You learned how things are done, how the church lives there, how the church is different in Maharashtra from that of Goa. It was very nice. When we started in 1988, we were 34, but only 9 of us came to ordination. I mean, each one, some of them, 2 of them joined the diocese. They left the Capuchin and they joined the diocese, but then most of them left along the way. Each one finds his own vocation. The discernment process is important. Not that one is superior to the other. Every way of life is what God wishes. But I had the opportunity after my 2 years in Naveli to be the boarding director in Montigiri, again, where that was a place where I had studied, so I went back there. So 3 years I was boarding director there, and it was nice experience with young boys there also. You encourage them, you give them guidance to grow up. They're young, they have dreams, but it's nice. You play a kind of a role model guide for them. I'm so happy to see many of them who are students who are doing so well. They remember somebody who did not want to sing in a choir today has become a professional singer. But we used to encourage them, and they are grateful. Oh, Father, you pushed us to sing, but this is the result, and they're grateful, and it gives us satisfaction. After that, I went to Revora 1 year as the parish priest and parochial administrator in Pirna. They're small parishes. Now today they are closer to Mopa. Back in those years they used to say, oh, far away places. After I had just finished 1 year, then they sent me for studies to Rome. I did my licentiate in biblical studies in Rome for 4 years, and I came back in 2010, and I was teaching I taught a course in Rashol Seminary, then I would go to our Capuchin Seminary in Bangalore and in Eluru, that is Andhra Pradesh. And amidst all this, they just, out of the blue, a call came from Rome, said, we want you in Rome. I didn't know what the reason was, but they said, no, we want you to come to our generalate and be the general secretary of the order. Goa is the smallest province, and they took me to the highest place. It was a big responsibility, but also kind of recognition. I learned a lot of things, because at the generalate level, we Capuchins are present in 111 countries of the world, and everybody reports to Rome, to the generalate, and from there we do the administration, the central administration. And as a general secretary, my role was to coordinate the work of all the offices. Like 40 fathers are working there, so I had to coordinate the work. And over the years, it turned out to be a very enriching experience. I served there for 9 years in Rome as the general secretary, and then I came back to Goa for a short period, did a few months of ministry in Bahrain, in Kuwait, went back to Rome, and then the general assigned me to where I am now, in the Pontifical Basilica of Our Lady of Loreto, which is in Loreto, just on the eastern coast of Italy. This is a basilica where we have the 3 walls of the House of Mary, brought from Nazareth in the 13th century. So it's a big shrine, place of devotion. Just last year, 2004, we had 6.5 million pilgrims coming from all over the world, some even from Goa, and it's so heartening to see that Goans also now come here. The walls are of the House of Mary, where she was born, she grew up, and these are the walls where she received the Annunciation. The angel Gabriel came to her. So it's like the house where Jesus was conceived. That's the reason for so many centuries this place is a place of devotion. Our main ministry is confessions, preaching retreats, talking to the youth. A lot of youth come. Regarding the youth, today there's a lot of youngsters, the new young generation. They give us hope. Only thing, all the energies that they have to be channelized in the right direction. We were fortunate, my generation, that we had priests, we had even our parents, who went regularly to church. Sometimes they told us stories, biblical stories. The catechist here, wonderful catechist that I remember from Santistev. So they kind of channelized, all the energy of young people. Today, our young people are generous. Only thing, their generosity has to be given the right directions, be it for vocations to marriage, family life, priesthood, or religious life as sisters. Everybody needs this direction. And I hope and I pray that our young people will be open to receive this call. Because at the end of the day, it's a response to the call of God. All we need is a little help, support from here and there. Very soon I will be celebrating 25 years of my priesthood. Of these 25 years, I have spent most of my time in Italy. Probably I spent only 6.5, 7 years in Goa. The rest of it has been in Italy. But this helps me also to see how people live their faith in different areas of the world. In Goa, we have a very, faithful, regular attendance at church. In Rome, I used to see most of the churches are beautiful. They are like museums, wonderful works of art. But sometimes when it is the time for Mass, it's just 10, 15, sometimes even 5 people. Because most of the churches have turned into museums. They come tourist places, they come visit and they go. But very few come and attend sacraments. But we are fortunate in Goa. We have to preserve what we have. This is a very big heritage we have. Heritage is not just buildings that we have, but what is handed down to us is also heritage, and this is something we should treasure. Our generation has lived it with a lot of fervor, and our hope is that the younger generation, despite a lot of movement here and there abroad, younger generation, those who at least stay here, will continue, transmit the handover that faith, because it's important. The early church was not big in number. The thing that attracted others to this religion, the followers of Jesus, we are in a time of, the Easter season, was that what they lived was so attractive. Others said, we want to live like that. So that is the reason faith, vocation becomes attractive. We have idols, sports, film actors, because they look attractive, at the first glance they're so attractive. But behind all their attractiveness, there's a lot of hard work. Sports people, actresses, they go to school, they learn. So also for our faith, it's important that what we live with real conviction, then it becomes attractive. So my wish is this, that our youngsters respond to God's call as the Lord gave me this grace, and that the work of the church, which is not just ours, it's the work of God, but we need to collaborate. The work of the church be carried forward by youngsters above the new generation. We thank God for the marvelous gifts He gives us, but then we have also to continue asking for the blessings, especially on the future generation, that the work of the church and God be continued. Thank you, and God bless you.